Hello, it is Professor Parrish, and we are on week 6 of English 122. So it's going to be a little bit different this week. We do not have a quiz, as you can see. There's only 2 assignments, but there are some instructions that we're going to go over in this video. So we're going to go ahead and go over here to this module guide and click on it. As you'll notice, there's not a quiz this week. It is just the discussion forum and this pre-writing assignment. So the first step is to read the section on theme on pages 193 to 194. And then there's the story Harrison Bergeron on pages 215 to 219 and writing effectively 220 to 222. And so we're going to look at the instructions for the fiction analysis essay, and then your assignment is going to be to complete the pre-writing assignment. The questions on writing a fiction analysis PowerPoint is going to hopefully help you understand how to do this. And you're going to submit your responses onto Canvas when you're finished. Now, for this assignment, I'm not going to require MLA, but if you want to practice it, this would be a great time to do so, especially if you're rusty or if it's been a while since you've used MLA. This would be a great time to practice it, and when I grade, I will give you feedback. And then you have the discussion forum for week 6. So this is a great time to just practice some of those MLA citations if you're a little rusty with it. Before we get into that, though, our discussion forum this week is just looking at the questions on page 219 in your text. What tendencies in present-day American society is Vonnegut satirizing? And I'm excited because I love Kurt Vonnegut, so I'm excited for y'all to read a little bit from him. Does the story argue for anything? How would you sum up its theme? And its theme obviously being the purpose or the message that the story is giving. So I'm excited to see what y'all put down for this discussion forum, especially with Vonnegut's writing. But let's talk about writing a fiction analysis. That's going to be the big thing for our first paper, right? As we dive into it. So what this PowerPoint's going to do is discuss the fiction analysis essay assignment, explain the concept of a fiction analysis, provide a tentative outline for your essay, offer strategies, and answer frequently asked questions. So your analysis is going to be 3 to 5 pages, and it's basically going to use an element of fiction to explain your understanding of what we've read in English 122. You should use MLA, which on our course homepage, I want to just briefly go over here and note, I have added at the top a source citation presentation. It's up there under the course instructor page now. So if you click on it, it will show you how to cite an MLA. It's a great time. But it'll also require you to cite your work study in a works cited page at the end. In other words, you're going to choose an essay that we've read that you enjoyed. It can be any of the ones we've read each week. You're going to choose one of the elements that we've discussed: point of view, characters, setting, tone, style, theme, or symbol, and apply that element to the essay, explain why it matters and what you've learned from it. So it should be a very focused essay. Now, this essay is worth 100 points. 25% of that is your ideas, your purpose, your development, how effective they are. 25% is going to be your organization, the structure, the coherence, unity. Is it all just a bunch of rambly thoughts, or does it have like an outlined structure? 25% is on clarity, creativity, tone, that it's appropriate for a college paper. It doesn't look like a Facebook post. And then finally, the presentation or correctness. Is it 3 to 5 pages? Is it 12-point font? Is it double spaced? Did you not write in elephant or Jokerman font? Important things like that. But basically, with a fiction analysis, an analysis increases our understanding of an artifact. We use this every day when we talk about restaurants, music, movies. Whenever you compare and contrast things and you critically analyze why this one restaurant is better than this other restaurant, that's an analysis, right? You're just applying it in this case to a piece of fiction. So a critical analysis makes an argument, it provides your opinion, it discusses a text in depth, and it affirms or critiques that text. You don't have to like it. There can be really good analyses where you don't like the text. I've seen lots of movies that are really, really bad, and I could write a pretty darn good effective analysis of it, explaining why it's bad and why you shouldn't watch it. So you can do the very same with a story too. If you don't like a piece that we've read, you might just, tear it apart through your analysis, right? But here's what's not a critical analysis. It shouldn't just be a summary. Don't just tell me the plot, because we've read the stories. We know the plot. It should not be a summary of someone else's opinion. This should be your own writing. And it should be a summary. It should not be a summary of the history of the work or author. I mean, all these things are interesting and they can be part of your analysis, but you just don't need to only have them. They should be a tiny, tiny portion. You could spend maybe a sentence or two with each of these, but it should not be your entire analysis. You'll lose a lot of points if that's the case. So with the parts of this analysis, your introduction should provide a context or briefly summarize the essay. You'll cite it in MLA format there. It should explain the significance. Why is it important now? Why should we keep reading it? Or should we not keep reading it? And it should establish the purpose, the thesis, or provide a question. Your paper should either posit a main idea that you are trying to prove throughout the paper, or it should ask us a question as the audience that you're spending the entire essay answering for us, right? Next, you need to choose an element. This can be point of view, characters, setting, tone, style, theme, or symbol. You should explain how the element impacts the story. If you've taken notes, that would be helpful. You should also include a sentence or two about why this element is important in this particular essay. Like, why'd you pick, if you're picking a rose for Emily, why did you pick character? You can go on and explain that. But the second point is that you apply the element to the essay. You provide examples from the text. For example, tone is a factor that hopelessness affects everything the character does. You should cite the text specifically, use quotes from the text, and include an analysis at the end of each paragraph about how the example connects with your thesis or your research question. Essentially, at the end of every paragraph, you need to summarize why what you've just said applies back to your main point. And that will help you stay focused and help to give your paper more of a thread throughout so that it feels like it's not just a rambling amount of words, that instead it is an essay with a clear through point and a clear goal, right? So point 3, say why it matters. The implications. So you can refer back to your thesis or research question. How have you proved it? Now that your thesis is proved or your research question is answered, what does it mean for society? What does it mean for us? Why should we care? How does this change our idea of the text? And how does this change the way we look at the element that you chose? So if we look at characters for Rose for Emily, by the end of the essay, there should be an implication with how we've looked at the characters and what it means for us as the audience. And then finally, you conclude your thought, you review your thesis, you remind your audience the significance or the context, and you end with a compelling line. You know, there's no new information in your conclusion. It's all just you summarizing what you've already said, but you should have like a nice little zinger at the end, right? Something to leave the audience with at the very end of the essay. So some frequently asked questions. How do I come up with the thesis or research question? Well, depending on what story you picked, what interests you about it? You can talk about that. But your thesis should be specific and precise. And if you have questions, you can email me about it and we'll come up with some answers together. How can I analyze? Can I analyze more than one element? I wouldn't. I'd say that when you do more than one, it may become too broad or too scattered. Strong writing usually has a tight focus and precise limits. It's more compelling to study one thing in depth than a lot of things just on the surface, right? It'll give you a better paper if you just focus on one. How do I figure out implications? Well, any of these could be a possibility. It could be your reaction to the story, what worked or didn't work, how it changed your mind about something, how it changes, the field of writing itself, and how it changes our society or world and how we view it. Can I use other sources? Yes, just make sure that you cite the text as one of your sources and the analysis is your own. You didn't just get somebody else's analysis and use it as your own, right? And we have software like Turnitin and other things. I can put your paper into it and see if you quoted more than you should have, right? And I will definitely probably note you if you do that, right? But so that's just your writing a fiction analysis PowerPoint, and you can email me if you have questions about that. But here is the task. You're writing a 3 to 5 page analysis that uses one element of fiction to advance your understanding of a text we've read in English 122. You'll use MLA format, and other sources are welcomed but not required. And so this is kind of like, again, a breakdown of the rubric, and late essays will not receive credit. So make sure that you check your syllabus, you check our module to see when things are due, and then that way you don't, run out of time and forget about it. And then the actual assignment itself, the pre-writing assignment that's due this week, what I want to know is, of the short stories we've read so far, which is your favorite and why? Name a couple of literary elements that are notable in the short story that you liked or picked for number one. So how does each one appear in the text? What can someone learn from analyzing the short story in number one about themselves, the text, or the world? What questions or concerns do you have about this essay assignment? So what this is designed to do this week is to get you thinking about what piece do you want to review. So this is a good way for you to kind of brainstorm and outline some ideas of which story you might write about and get some ideas to see if you can kind of get some of those elements to talk about and see if they'll work or not, right? And then the pre-writing assignment is going to be due here. It's worth 10 points. And this is kind of the same questions that I just went over with you all. And you can upload them here. You can either write your answers here or upload a document. Okay? So those are the two assignments this week. The two assignments for week 6 being the discussion forum as well as the pre-writing assignment. As always, if you have any questions, please make sure to ask. Let me know via email, or if I'm in my office, you can stop by and ask me any questions. But I'm excited to see what stories that you pick to talk about and what shape your writing assignment takes over these next couple of weeks. So in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll be back very soon with more English 122.